This is my game, and I've been stuck on making this game because I have no idea what the world would look like or even what the bathhouse would look like. I even tried to take inspiration from Miyazaki's film, which I thought it would help, but no. I was missing too much cultural background to make this game. I'm trying to make a Japanese bathhouse, and I don't even have that much Japanese understanding to even make this game. So I brought it upon myself to fix that problem, and I flew to Japan, jumped from city to city, and embraced the Japanese culture. Of course, I had a plan throughout my entire trip. I visited this temple. No idea what this temple was, but it looked very Japanese, and I recorded everything. It was the first temple I visited, so my thought was, okay, I'll just take notes on everything I see and rewatch the video, and I can take some inspiration and adapt it into my game. Like this lamp. This feels very Japanese and spirit-like. And this stone lamp. The texture on this lamp is very interesting. It's old, oxidized, and it has a lot of details that I can't even understand why it's designed like that. After this temple, I visited the Tokyo National Museum, which was chock full of historical items. I spent an entire day just taking pictures and learning the history. They even display samurai stuff. Oh, I'm so adding that to my game. I've been working on this game for like 3 months, just sketching ideas and figuring out what the direction of the game was going to go. And one of the biggest problems I've had since developing this game was objects. Objects as in buckets, brooms, cups, dishes, wood, whatever stuff you think is junk. And those objects are really important in my game because I want to make this bathhouse very believable and very immersive. And I need a crap load of junk in this world. So that's why I went to the museum. There were so many artifacts there, it was crazy. So yeah, that was day 1. So I'm still in Tokyo and I visit another museum, and it's called the Edo-Tokyo Open Air Museum. I specifically picked this place because apparently Miyazaki got inspired by visiting here. I think he visited here. Notice how everything looks very similar to Spirited Away. Take a look at the picture first, and notice the drawers in this boiler room. There's a lot. Now check out this model reference. It has a lot of drawers, a lot of stuff that seems like medicine. Oddly placed shelves at the top of the ceiling that seems unreachable unless you have a ladder, and a very, very dark olden wood that's covered in everything that shows so much history just by looking at it. I wanted to go here because I wanted to look through the lens of Miyazaki and how he made his Spirited Away movie. This was just one of the models. Check out the other models as well. This one is a home, so they don't sell anything. This one is a grocery store. Apparently they sell sake and canned goods. This one is a restaurant, and the room next to it is a place where people can eat. I think those are the models. I'm not too sure. There were a few more things that I got inspired by. This is an Edo-style tea house. I have never seen a house like this ever. And just walking in through this house, I never knew how tight the corridors were back in the day. And that's a pretty big key feature in making my bathhouse. Another super big key feature is the design of the windows. That's something I would never be able to design on my own without going to Japan. The window designs are so simple and elegant. It really emphasized the beauty of looking outside from a far distance, like if you're at the end of the corridor trying to peek through the garden. Rooms in this tea house felt small, and to make it bigger, they don't clutter the rooms with furniture. That's why the rooms are empty, so that the rooms can have more space to sit, talk, and have room to breathe. Stairs in this tea house are steep and narrow, something I would definitely put into my game because every old house and every castle that I've been to, they always have steep stairs. I have no idea why, but the closest answer that I got from a Japanese tour guide was that back in the day, they didn't care about comfort at all. It was just stairs going up and down. And that's it, that's the purpose. That was shocking to hear. And there's paper windows. Every room that I went into always had some type of paper window or paper doors. I also took notice of the architectural designs of the roof. The ceiling is very low. I would almost hit my head going from room to room, and I'm only 5'8". And it's that low. The ceiling is that low because a long time ago, Japanese people were short and they didn't need tall ceilings. But you know, evolution happened and people got taller, but it's so shocking to see how low the ceiling is. There's also the design of the window. Every time you transition from room to room, you see this design, and it's interesting to see. There's so much detail in this tea house that I never would have given a single thought about, and I think it makes sense if I think about it more. This is a tea house for important people back in the day, where they would discuss politics and other important stuff. So if a high-ranking person comes to this tea house needs to look lavish and expensive to fit for the high-ranking person. And this is what they did back in the day, because spending money on artisans and skilled laborers is one of the many ways to show off your wealth. This is why there's a lot of details in this tea house. And I like that idea a lot, and I think I will add that concept to my game, showing a lot of details in my bathhouse to signify wealth. I visited a Japanese garden. There's one thing that everybody likes, and that's nature. Beautiful, beautiful nature. This is why I went to a Japanese garden. In Spirited Away, there's a small garden that doesn't have a lot of screen time. It's just there for the setting. But in my game, I'm planning to add a garden with a purpose. And that purpose is that you can tend to your garden, grow your own fruit, or feed the koi fish. That's why a Japanese garden is very important in my game, so that I can introduce these farm simulation mechanics. I've also stumbled upon a stage, and I saw some dancers practicing for a festival that's about to come. It's very interesting how the stage is set up. The house is formed in an L shape, and you can watch the performance inside the house. The stage itself is also very traditional, something I can take inspiration from when building a key event in my game, like a festival that showcases a very important geisha and she's dancing. Also, some side fun things for the audience. Check out this toilet. This is an old traditional style toilet, and you have to take off your shoes and wear slippers inside the bathroom. It's so interesting. I went to a lot of shrines in Tokyo, and it's mostly because I still didn't have a good grasp on the Japanese culture. And what better way to get that is by visiting shrines. Plus my game will have shrines in it as well, so it's pretty important that I visit a lot so I don't miss anything. I'm mostly looking for details and texture, what the shrines are supposed to look like, what objects are in the shrine, and how shrines are presented. When I enter this shrine, I see a torii gate, and I didn't know torii gates can be made of stone. That's new. I also noticed this sacred rope along the shrine's roof. And between the knots, there's this lightning-shaped paper. That's a small detail that's pretty important. And at the entrance of this shrine, I found a statue, and I think it's a tanuki, because it's showcasing its balls and it's giant. There's a good chance there's gonna be a tanuki in my game, and it's kinda interesting how they show the tanuki. In anime, it doesn't look like this statue. Or maybe this isn't a tanuki at all. I don't know. But the statue looks pretty interesting, so I might, bend the idea a bit just to fit it in my game or something like that. The next shrine I went to is a bit more touristy, and I wasn't inspired as much, but it wasn't all a loss because I saw some people wear kimonos. A friend of mine told me that they're celebrating Shichiko-san, which means to celebrate the age of the child and growth and happiness. Apparently you go to the temple with the kids and pray when the kids are 3, 5, and 7. I also saw a nice water fountain. Most likely I'll add that to my game since it looks very pretty in Japanese. I also went to a tea ceremony class where I was educated in making tea. I wanted to try this out because tea is such a big part of the Japanese culture. There's more different types of tea than there are with soft drinks in Japan. Crazy, right? And apparently, tea needs to be complemented with sweets. That's also something I didn't know at all. There's a lot more details about the tea ceremony, but I won't get into that here. The main point is that my game will serve tea in my bathhouse, and it needs to be complemented with sweets. And it could be mochi. Nothing happened during this day. I pretty much had to travel like 4 hours because I got lost and checked into my hotel pretty late. Nothing was open during the night when I got there. So I'm in Nikko and this is my hotel room. I decided to video record this because it felt so Japanese and there was a lot of inspiration coming to me when I stayed in this room. There's not a lot of furniture and the beds are futons while the floor has tatami mats. It gives me an idea where I can create a worker residential area in my game where they use futons as beds like how Spirit Away did it. I went to Edo Wonderland, which is an Edo-styled amusement park. I wanted to go here because I wanted to see the buildings of what it was like in the past. I won't be just making the bathhouse. I also need to build the world outside the bathhouse as well. I need to build restaurants, supermarkets, and even residential areas where the spirits can have their own daily lives and you can interact with them. And I'll even add a red light district, which is a place where prostitutes hang out at. Check out this Oran, which is a highly ranked courtesan, or in common words, a high-ranking prostitute. In Edo period, prostitutes were common. Notice how this Oran is walking. It walks slowly, with grace, and moves to the beat of the music. Her followers also walk with her, and to the beat of the music as well. There's a giant umbrella that looks very heavy, and it's interesting how the guy is holding it in a way where it shows submissiveness towards the Oran. I'm definitely going to add this characterization in my game. It's just such an interesting event. After the amusement park, I went to the Toshogu Shrine. This shrine is highly recommended to see. There's so many cultural artifacts in this temple that it felt like I was living in the past. The trees were ginormous. Never seen trees like that before. The stone lamps were covered in moss. That's a little detail I'm definitely going to add in my game. Didn't know moss could grow like that. Buildings are lacquered with gold. That's a display to show wealth, and a decorated dragon when you look up at the ceiling. It's lacquered in gold. Didn't know Japan worshipped dragons. I thought it was only in China. There's so many little details in this shrine that I can't even explain every single thing in this video. So that's for me to study behind the scenes while I'll make my game. Onward to the next day. I had to travel from Nikko all the way to Mishima. It was roughly a 6-hour trip. It's been a week into my travels, and a business friend had just informed me what a Ryokan is. Let me explain what a Ryokan is. A Ryokan is an old traditional style hotel, and it's super expensive. So I went to a former Ryokan, which is pretty much now a museum. It's interesting to see how the rooms were laid out. Every room has this roof over their entrance, and I found out that these roofs are there because it's a home. Basically, a Ryokan is a luxurious villa. It just means there's a house within a house. Interesting, huh? While I was walking around this Ryokan, it felt maze-like for me. Rooms weren't intuitive like traditional hotels where it's just hallway and then there's a door and it's spaced out. There were a lot of narrow corridors and it's all zigzag and you never know where the next door lies. Sometimes I would stumble upon an open banquet hall. It just goes to show that the Ryokan is so maze-like and so traditional that it very much fits into what I plan in making for my game. Walking through this tunnel, I didn't expect to find a shrine so hidden and in plain sight. And there was so much bamboo covering this shrine. I was pleasantly surprised to see a torii gate beautifully centered around the bamboo. And when I entered this shrine, I was stunned how beautiful this place was. I never knew bamboo could be so beautiful and so articulate. After walking a little bit more into this shrine, I unexpectedly discovered a giant tree that's been cut. It has a sacred rope around it, so it's probably a sacred tree. A god must be living there or something. It's fascinating to see how much nature is intertwined with these shrines. From all of the traveling I've done so far, I've also noticed statues all across the shrines. It's either a fox, a dog, or a raccoon dog. And I think these statues are there to protect the shrines. It's interesting. My game will definitely make use of these statues and make them come alive. After going to that shrine, I went to see the overview of the entire city. Because this city is so countryside, it's filled with so much nature, I thought it would be a great idea to take reference. You know, in case I want to design my game that's near the sea. and the view is really nice and astonishing. I've also stumbled upon an area where the walking way is literally from a post-apocalyptic setting, and it's exactly what I've been looking for in my game. I needed to see a heavily dense vegetation that's been abandoned, and I need this because in my game there are spirits that are popular and spirits that aren't so popular, and the not so popular ones need their own setting, their own environment. So this little find that I found, it's perfect for the not so popular spirits to live in. An interesting find, especially in the setting of Japan. I went to a park in Mishima and it's called Rakujuen. I had some time and I decided to visit this place, and I was not disappointed at all. It really felt like I was in a Japanese garden, but it's not because it's not maintained. Nature just grows. But there was this creek that I was so fascinated by. Look at how the grass grows alongside the river. I've never seen that before. That's an interesting detail to add into my game, especially if I have any rivers in my game. Next, I went to see Mishima Skywalk, which is a touristy destination to see the longest walkable suspension bridge. I came here to see Mount Fuji, but I never got to see it. It was just too cloudy on that day. But the trip wasn't all lost. I was very fascinated by the trees around the area. Just look at how mysterious this feels. It feels like something is lurking in there. The trees are so straight and tall. This is a great idea to play around with, especially if I want to make something dark and sinister in my game. I went to Hakone Jinja Shrine. It's a pretty popular tourist destination, and it's pretty famous for its torii gate sitting on the water. It's very Instagram worthy picture. But that's not what I was here for. It was a side trip and I wanted to see the shrine so that I could get a feel of Japan more. What I wanted to do was stay at this Ryokan. It's called Fukuzumiro. It's one of the oldest ryokans. While I was here, I pretty much bathed like a Japanese, ate like a Japanese, and slept like a Japanese. This was the experience I wanted to have in order to understand Japan a lot more and its lifestyle. And this mattered to me a lot because it allowed me to understand what it's like living in Japan from long ago. And in my game, spirits are ancient and have lived for several hundreds of years. I can add this Japanese lifestyle into the spirit's lifestyle. It grounds the character a lot more when they have this basic necessity in their life. This was a very expensive place to stay, but worth the experience. I'd probably never do this again, honestly. Also, check out this place. It's Sengokuhara Susuki grass fields, and it very much looks like a place where samurais fight. This is such an amazing sight to see. I understand why video games showcase these fields. It's so Japanese, and the grass is so tall. It was taller than me. You can see the comparison of this person to this grass. This is a very good inspiration for my game, and I'll definitely add this to my game. I'm still in Hakone, and I went to a 400-year-old tea house. They say that this place is where travelers rested from long ago to get into Tokyo, and they would have amazake with mochi, which is what I got here. This place feels very much like what a spirit bathhouse should be. It's dark, the air is thick with smoke, dark colored wood fits the mood, and it's filled with lots of random knickknacks. This is exactly what I'm looking for and how I envision my bathhouse would look like. After that little stop, I went hiking to check out the wild foliage. There's so much foliage that I need for my game. I can't just have one type of plant scattered throughout my game. It needs a lot of variety. So that's why I went hiking. Plus, this hiking trail is 400 years old, and the stones that you see me walking on, those stones have been there for like 400 years. So it's extremely interesting to walk on this trail, like how people walked way back then during the day when they needed to travel from city to city. Next, I went to a volcanic sulfur mine. I wanted to go here to get some type of inspiration, anything if I visited this place. And it feels so desolated. I like the fog and steam coming out, but nothing speaks to me, at least not yet, but I'll play around with this idea in the future. Remember when I said I was never going to stay at another ryokan? Well, I stayed at another ryokan, and this is because I needed more confirmation if this was really the traditional way to live in Japan. Not because it was very nice and relaxing, but to cut the story short, yes, it was the traditional way to live in Japan. This ryokan was very different from the other ryokan I stayed at. The building was more maze-like and it had several floors. It was so big and so interesting to walk around in. They even have an outside bath, which I very much dipped into. Of course you had to be naked, but it was in the middle of the dark and I was alone, so it was perfect for me. Especially how hot the bath was. It was extremely hot, but the cold air helped cool me down a lot. Oh, I love ryokans. A friend of mine that I just met in Japan told me about this abandoned shrine. She said the atmosphere was great for my game and I wasn't disappointed at all. Look at how much moss there are in these steps and along the walls too. Even the statues are covered in moss. Such little details are so important in my game and it's exactly what I'm looking for. And again, I see a dog guardian statue protecting the shrine. Going to a lot of the shrines, it has its benefits. You can see what's commonly used in shrines. Usually, what I see is torii gates, dog statues, and lots of nature covering around the shrine. I traveled to Ise and visited the outer shrine. It's even more sacred than the other shrines I visited. Apparently, a lot of Japanese people come here, and not a lot of international tourists visit here. I had a Japanese person ask me what I was doing all the way out in the countryside, because it was just so remote. Anyways, it's interesting to see how much space is used for this pathway in this shrine. The type of gravel they use matters, and the color they use as well. It's interesting how the shrine's architecture is different from the ones I visited it too. It feels more old and traditional. Overall, this place felt sacred, like I'm walking into a god's home. I also visited the inner shrine as well. It was much bigger than the outer shrine, and it had a lot more shrines within it. There's a river that flows along the area, and I thought it was really beautiful and how neat and pristine it was. A little detail I noticed is that on the other side of the river, I can see a wall stretching out from either side. I think it's to protect the embankment of the trees in case they fall over when the river gets too high. Maybe it's used for that. Outside the inner shrine, I stumbled upon an Edo-style marketplace. The building very much resembles what it was like in the past. I honestly felt like I was shopping way back in Edo. The building is such a great reference for me to build a marketplace in my game. There were a few foods that are famous here. I ate akafuku mochi, which is a mochi that has a red bean paste on the outside. I ate udon, which is said to be the softest noodles to eat. They were really soft and extremely good. And I also ate matsusaka beef, which is a cheaper version of the Kobe beef, and the marbling is just half as good. Honestly like matsusaka beef a lot better than Kobe because it's a lot less fattier and it doesn't upset my stomach as much. I went to the beach to visit Myoto-Iwa Shrine, and it's a shrine that's placed on top of a rock. The design of this place is so interesting. You know that famous painting of that Japanese wave? Yeah, that's exactly what I envisioned here. The waves were rough. I thought the shrine would have been bigger, but it's actually fairly small. Luckily, I can always change that in my game and make it bigger than reality. I even saw frog statues, and I'm assuming they are guarding the shrines just like the fox and the dog statues that I see everywhere in Japan. I also found another shrine, and this one has dragon statues. Most likely, I will definitely add dragons in my game. There just has to be one in my game considering how many dragons I've stumbled upon in Japan. I also went to a museum near this shrine and check this out. Look at the rooms and how this is all laid out. It feels so Japanese and the perspective and architecture fits exactly what I need to make my bathhouse. This feels luxurious, maze-like, and filled with culture. I'm in Matsusaka and I decided to go to a museum. It showcases an old home from way back in Edo, I think. The kitchen is pretty much fueled by firewood, and the design is interesting. They use a clay pot, and on top of that, it's a wooden lid. Definitely will use this in my game. It screams traditional. And stairs. I'm fairly obsessed with stairs ever since I came to Japan because there's just so much, and the style is always different in some way. Like this one, the steps are huge and the incline is very steep. And if you think about it, the handrail was added for safety measures, and I know that because the design feels too modern. So now I'm thinking back then, they didn't even have handrails at all. That's so crazy. I'm in Nagoya and I went to see the castle there. It's pretty much amazing up close, but unfortunately I couldn't go inside. So I went to Homaru Palace, which was next to it. And inside everything is gold. It was so crazy how the rooms were covered in gold leaves. It was literally shining at my face. There's a lot of tiger designs in this room, and I'm not too sure why. There's a lot more golden paintings in these rooms. Some depict birds, nature, and cities. Definitely going to take inspiration from this to create my own golden room. As a side trip, I also visited the market and took notice of the lanterns. It's very pretty to see something like this. Most likely I'll take inspiration from this and add it to my own game as well. I went to Daijingu Shrine in Tokyo. The Torii Gate is beautiful as always, so I'm not as shocked as I once was when coming to Japan. It's a touristy area, so I'm not that inspired when I visited this shrine, but I came back to Tokyo because I wanted to visit some friends of mine back in college. It was a nice side trip. I went to see the Hiroshima Castle. I got interested in this castle because of the structure inside. Basically, I need this structure foundation so that the bathhouse can have a similar structure. I have no idea how woodworking works, but this is as close as I can get to make the bathhouse more believable. Unfortunately, this was a museum, so I couldn't see much of the woodworkings. But I did find some of these samurai outfits, and that I could reference a lot. Also, there's this map I found super interesting. My game needs a map to cover the bathhouse layout, so using this as a reference is great because my map needs to feel Japanese, and this map does feel very Japanese. Oh yeah, and stairs. See what I'm talking about with stairs? I told you, stairs are steep, they have big giant steps, and this one has drawers on it, which is fascinating honestly. I went to Itsukushima Shrine. This shrine has a high tide and a low tide. Right now I'm at the low tide. This shrine is so unique compared to the other shrines I visited, and that's because of this. During low tide, I could walk along the beach and touch the Torii Gate. I am definitely going to add this into my game, especially high tide and low tide. Also, this shrine has a lot of friendly deers that just walks up to you for food. I went to Koya-san, and it's pretty much a graveyard. This graveyard has been here for a very long time, and you can see that by the amount of moss just covering everything up. Apparently, back in Edo, people wanted to be buried way up in the mountains to be closer to the Shingon sect of Buddhism. Basically, there's a Buddhist temple at the end of this hike, and that temple lights up 1,000 lanterns, and it's always lit no matter what. Unfortunately, I can't show you anything in that temple because photography isn't allowed, but from the many places I've been to, I've noticed that lanterns and lights are so important in Japanese culture. Now I know where my budget really needs to be put into, lanterns and lots of it. I went to Hemiji Castle. This castle is exactly what I'm looking for in terms of woodwork and architectural work. And of course, the stairs are freaking steep and the steps are giant. What I found interesting about this castle is that there's so much wooden beams crossing each other. It's also spacious but narrow at the same time. And looking at the ceiling, you can see the beams crossing over a lot more. There's different sizes of wood and different shapes too. Very interesting how this castle is made of wood and has so many floors to it. After checking out the castle, I went to the Japanese garden. But this garden is a bit more special than the others because it has this bamboo water thingy. I'm finally witnessing the beauty of this bamboo thing. I've been trying to find an authentic one so that I can put it into my game and reference it. I'm so glad I stumbled upon it. Just look at this, it's so natural and fits to the environment perfectly. I went to Kyoto and I saw a geisha. Geisha are so rare to find, and just seeing one is like seeing a celebrity. Look at the kimonos that they wear, the hairstyle, and how they walk. There's so many little details in their kimonos. The designs, the little ornaments in their hair, what they're carrying. Even their shoes are interesting to see. It's like a giant wooden block. You'll definitely see a geisha in my game. I also went to Arashima Bamboo Forest, but I never knew how densely packed the bamboos are and how tall they are as well. They are very green, but when it hits at night, the mood changes so quickly. It becomes more mysterious and a bit spookier. light just barely passes through the bamboo. And once it hits even darker, the mood changes further. It becomes more ominous and the forest starts to become more maze-like. It's such an interesting idea to play around with. I like that idea a lot. I think I'm gonna play around with that design a bit more. I'm in Kanazawa, and check out this little contraption. I'm definitely going to add this into my game. Look at how the wood just changes and how new words just replace the old ones. That's so cool. I visited an old Buddhist temple in Inami. This town is well known for its wood carvings, and checking this temple out, I can see the details of their work. The craftsmanship is unbelievable. If you're still not convinced, then check out this vending machine with the cat carvings around it. This has to be one of my favorite carvings out of the entire trip. There are some more cat carvings too. I like this one with the fish in its mouth. I went to a pretty famous Japanese garden called Ryokan. To be honest, I've seen so many Japanese gardens, this one doesn't feel that much different, except that it's much bigger than the other Japanese gardens I've been to. I also went to a shrine next to the garden. There's a dragon statue at the entrance of this shrine, and I thought it was pretty awesome how the dragon just sticks out like that. And I also had my fortune read. This fortune was very interesting because you had to toss it in the water for the words to come out. That's so cool, and I'll definitely add this to my game. And if you're wondering about my fortune, I had good luck. I went to Higashi-Chaya district where most of the geisha used to live back in Edo. The buildings are so plain but traditional at the same time. And I say plain because there's nothing attractive that would attract customers to their shops or, anything like that. But then again, this is a place where geisha used to live. I went to a museum to see the geisha's home. And there's so much inspiration I can take from, especially their kitchen. It's just filled with junk, and that's exactly what I need in my bathhouse. Alright, fair warning, a fugal is about to be killed. I pretty much ate fugal and I wanted to try this, well, because I was just curious. And I never knew how big fugal was. I thought it was just a pufferfish or something like that, but this thing is huge. There's a good chance I use this fish as a design for a spirit or something because this fish is so interesting to look at. Also check this out. I'm spinning a contraption and look at the amount of details on this thing. I'm already getting a lot of inspiration just by doing this activity. It's a very, very nice puzzle design to think about for my game. Spin the object and something mysterious might happen. I also went to see a live performance of a geisha. That was very interesting to see. I went to Nagano to see Matsumoto Castle. I wanted to come here for the architectural designs because my bathhouse needs to reference woodworks. And again, stairs are extremely steep and the steps are giant. Did I mention how stairs are pretty interesting in Japan? It's also interesting how the woodwork is laid out too. Look at the roof of this castle. Everything is just crisscrossing and the beams are at varied lengths and the shape is very different as well, so it's interesting to see that. And my bathhouse will utilize this maze-like pattern because I'm trying to make it feel more mysterious and more complicated, but in reality it should also be very simple to look at too. I also went to a wasabi farm and had wasabi there. It was pretty spicy, especially if it's fresh. On my last day of my trip, I went to see the snow monkey in Nagano. They are apparently very friendly. They just walk up to you and it's pretty much like, I don't care about you at all. They feel zero danger from us. I wanted to go here because I wanted to see them bathe in the onsen, and my game will have snow monkeys. So this is a very excellent reference to have. They pretty much live like this, in the mountains, and they come down from the mountains to bathe in the onsen. There's about 200 of these monkeys when I came here, and I was extremely lucky to catch this many on this day. And you know what's really interesting? Look at how they scratch themselves. They're like dogs. What an interesting behavior I'm witnessing. I'm definitely going to add this in my game. And look at this. It's a baby monkey just playing with the rope, treating it like a swing. Aw, so cute. Yeah, this was the best highlight of my entire trip. I spent hours just recording monkeys. Seeing the monkey was very worth the trip. And that's my entire trip in Japan. I spent an entire month here just collecting research for my game. I'm trying to make this game as authentic as possible. And it took so much of my resource just traveling to Japan and everything. but the trip was a must for me because without this, the foundation of the game wouldn't be as strong. My artist wouldn't know what to draw, and it would have been a very difficult game development. This game is called A Journey's End, and it's about a boy that's forced to work in a bathhouse, just like Spirited Away. So wishlist it on Steam, follow the Kickstarter because the budget is so tight on me and I'm unsure if I can finish this game, and buy Harvest Island. That'll help me in the long run. It's a great game and I know you'll like the story of it.